we're here to talk about current state of Star Wars Unlimited, where it's at as far as like the market goes. If you haven't gotten your hands on any of these boxes, don't worry. We're going to be talking about all that stuff and avoiding scalpers and things like that, because there are a lot of them online, it seems like, and the price has just been roller coastering. Don't worry. And we are also here to talk about a little bit of the current meta as it stands right now.
It's been very fascinating watching it shift, and it's like, oh, these are the top leaders to play, and then it's quickly changed from that. At the time of recording, we're pretty much 1 month out.
Right.
From when the first box dropped.
TCGs commonly do. As people find new cards or overlook cards, and then we're going to mention a couple of those in the video as well.
Yes.
Okay, so Star Wars Unlimited came out of the races, came out really strong. On all fours, just at a gallop, I would say.
Now I'm just picturing Wolverine when he does his like animalistic run.
Does he do that?
Yeah.
I've never seen Hugh Jackman on all fours.
No, not him.
That'd be hilarious, though. He's just like, he's as tall as a horse. But let's keep it in Star Wars realm. You're thinking of General Grievous, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
All fours.
Yeah, he does do that.
Before he gets on his unicycle and pieces out of there.
Yeah.
Chased by a giant lizard.
Yes.
Okay, well.
Things happen.
So a lot of LGS stores don't have any Star Wars readily available as much as like they would have Magic and things like that. When was the release of this game?
This year, March 8th.
So March 8th. It's only been 1 month, and starting out strong, but the demand is outpacing supply. And it's done that with Lorcana. Ravensburger's experienced that most recently because they came out last Gen Con.
Yes, that was rough getting them. It took us a while just to get our first sets for that one.
Right.
I mean, it's definitely gotten better since they've had 2 boxes since and able to pre-order, but I pre-order all of the boxes because I am concerned that we're not going to get them.
Right. And then, of course, we got a lot of people that have bought up tons of boxes, like 13 boxes for one customer, 17 boxes here, 2 cases there. And so that price per booster box of 24 packs has gone up 40 or 50 bucks, depending on your area. So Ravensburger has since kind of solved this issue with putting more supply out there after they get a good measurement on the market for their product. And because I would go in Barnes & Noble and ask to buy 2 packs, and they're like, nope, you can't. That's only 1 pack per customer. And I'm like, I can't collect what I'm trying to build fast enough.
I do think the difference between Lorcana and some of the other TCG products is strictly because it is Disney. I know Star Wars is also Disney, but it's a different Disney. Right. And that you are going to have non-gamers want Lorcana cards. Right. Just because it's Disney.
And this is another Star Wars collectible card game. But there are some people that are kind of pushed away because Fantasy Flight also made some fans happy with Star Wars Destiny, but stopped kind of supporting the game in a lot of ways.
The momentum on that one really died quickly. So I could see some people being a little wary of this one as well too, and not wanting to do the whole pre-ordering and getting all your boxes ahead of time.
Yes. And a lot of local game stores know this as well, and they're saving some of their releases and boosters for game night. So definitely check StarWarsUnlimited.com and figure out what your local game store is that's running events, and they will be supplying people. But it might not be enough to really help new players if they're interested in the game. So we're gonna figure out how we can kind of help in a way, and have you help other people too. Because I know, we have a lot of bulk laying around.
We do.
But what you could possibly do to help other people and help grow this community is take a lot of your bulk commons and rares that you aren't going to use in some of your decks, and actually see if you can make some new player-friendly decks, maybe possibly aggro strategies. I would say some of the best ones you can pull from, because you get leaders in every set, so that's no problem there. They're like a few cents. You get Leia for green, Sabine for red, even Moff Gideon for dark side. And you can actually build some of these really cool decks and hand them out to new players, or hand them out during your LGS event, and help some new players out, and then they'll be ready to possibly buy the new set or pre-existing box.
Yes. Well, we recently had 3 friends over, and they had never played this before, and we worked through it with them, and one was playing Darth Vader, one was Han Solo, and the other one was Thrawn. So that was interesting, and we actually played all 5 of us together. Just a little rough. It was cool to see how those decks worked, and we had varying levels of knowledge around Star Wars. I mean, one of them had never seen any Star Wars property before, and she was playing Thrawn. So
yeah.
But it was interesting to see, and teaching all 3 of them, and they all said that they would play again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and now they have more events like Twin Sun format, which is more of your commander format. Our 5-player thing is probably not doable.
No.
But we just had some friends over. We didn't want them to
that.
feel left out or anything. So they do have Commander Night like formats. They also have Star Wars Limited drafts. So definitely sign up for those. I think it's like $20 per person, $30 per person maybe. But you also get
depending
a deck
on
from
your
that.
area.
Yes. And also, if your LGS has pre-releases, what those are like 8 packs of the same packs that we open on our channel. But they also have the promo card for Luke, Skywalker, and Vader, but they're different art styles as the pre-con, and then they're also foil, and it comes with each of them. So definitely check out the pre-releases if your store has those. And then also they're looking like they're producing more boxes of this right now, so don't get discouraged. As of right now, I think June or July is estimated when more LGS stores are going to have these, when they have the second set.
Yes.
So, and that is
July.
Yes, and that set is called Shadows of the Galaxy. So that way you can get caught up on both sets, maybe do a pre-release of one or the other, and do the new one of the sets. So I would not settle for FOMO prices. Definitely wait on it and be patient, and I would not be paying $200 per box.
Oh gosh, no.
Because we've gotten some good hits on the channel, but also I don't think it's worth it for those scalper prices. And if enough people agree on that and not settle for those inflation, then the price will definitely come down, because scalpers will have no choice. So yeah. Okay, so moving on. Do you have anything else to say about the current market?
I don't think so. No,
okay.
This time.
ICG. Okay, so next topic. What is the current meta killer of Star Wars Unlimited?
For a while, it was just all about Sabine.
It was Sabine. Sabine was a nice aggro, quick strategy. Throw a bunch of red and white together.
And there were different variations of adding in what second color you would do with her. So I'd, credit on that. It's not just all one type of deck, but it was a lot of Sabine there for a little bit.
Right, but the new meta for right now as a recording is Boba Fett control strategy. So you're going to see a lot of yellow green at your events at your LGS and online. It is a Boba Fett leader with the energy conversion lab, so he can set up a bunch of ambushes, go for easy targets on the battlefield to eliminate and ready his resources. And that way he's outpacing you as far as actual resources go and what you can put on the field. And he runs things like Crafty Smuggler that has a shield token on it as soon as it comes out. So it's going to be doing at least 4 damage to your base or other units to set himself up for a quick victory and ramp up to a Darth Vader play, putting more smaller units on the field. which is Grizzly. It's going to really test your skill at the game. But that is not the end-all be-all. Boba Fett wins against a lot of matchups because people don't know how to play against a character like Boba Fett. Yes. And I think you'll find that the meta is quickly changing. Mm-hmm. So Boba Fett can come out pretty quickly, like as far as early as turn 5, probably sooner if he's playing green, because he's got those resupplies.
Yes.
And Super Laser Technician with Ambush, because Hyper, or the Energy Conversion Lab can get your Super Laser Technician out on the field and attacking. It only has a power of 2 and toughness of 1, and it's going to die, turning into a resource. Boba Fett comes out next round, and now you are sweating. Right? As far as our games go?
Yes. So the majority of the time that I played against your Boba Fett was with my Leia deck, and every time, even though it was both 5 resources to get our leaders out, every time you beat me to it because of you got that ramp up in those resources.
And then taking the initiative when I needed to. So, but there are ways to control that board state, and we're going to go through a couple of characters you could potentially play that are good matchups against Boba Fett, and are should be considered in making a deck, and also just a couple of tips.
Yeah. So 1, you're going to want to do board wipes. So you're going to want to take your arm and just wipe his stuff right off the table.
Which could be satisfying, but I think qualifies as a DQ, and then you might get kicked out of your local game store.
Okay. I thought just at home you could do that. Yeah.
I think you are part cat.
Just tap those right off the table. Just get them off.
Tip number 1. Be patient. If you're not knowing of what character to particularly play, or you want to play like a certain character I don't recommend, be patient. Know that Boba Fett has these disintegrator cards that can come out and can ambush your character for 3, take that character out, or if it's a character that is tapped from a previous round, he can do 6 damage and eliminate that character. Pretty easy. He can take out almost any leader with that ability as well. So I would say don't give him easy targets to eliminate and ready his resources. Things like shielded units, when they instantly come out, are going to be so good. Your 7th Fleet Defenders.
Well, if you are playing Luke as a leader, he can put a lot of shields on, and I'd highly recommend just assuming that's what you're going to need to do going up against Boba.
Yes. Things like Crafty Smuggler do have shields that come out immediately on, and things that have like a good defense. And I think with a new set, Grogu is going to be pretty good as a 2 cost, considering
potentially game breaking.
Yeah, it's like a 0/5, and it's going to be pretty defendable if they're playing something like Mandalorian. But we'll get there when we get there. So look for units that are harder to take off the board in early game. Be patient. The majority of wins against Boba Fett are going to be in late game. So being able to ramp up or be able to cheat resources out with Han Solo, you can actually outpace Boba Fett himself. And if you're playing blue, you can come out with Han Solo, cheat a resource out, play a sneak attack or something into a redemption. You can swing with 8, and then also heal your base for 8. Things like that, but happen either mid to late game. For a mid-range deck, it's going to be super important to disrupt his units. So a lot of things like Crafty Smuggler are going to be they're like sneaky good in this game. It's going to be really nice to stop those units from activating their triggered abilities when played and on attack. So you can play cards in blue, such as Regional Governor, things that will keep your opponent from actually playing a card with that specific name that you mentioned, and which works really well if you're also playing characters like Thrawn, because before action phase even starts, you can look at their top card and know what's coming towards you, or you can play something that's hand revealing like Viper Probe Droid and be able to play your Regional Governor and stop that card from wrecking your face. So, also, I would recommend either mulliganing, really important in this game, mulligan until you've got something like 1 cost or 2 cost. Mm-hmm. Luckily, our regional governor is a 2 cost? Yes. Mm-hmm. And she can disrupt your enemy units, or mulligan until you have some ramp cards so you can play more late game. So you got multiple things that you're looking for in your starting hand mm-hmm. that you want to mulligan for. And those can really be round defining against
Yes, so within Star Wars Unlimited, you can mulligan once, mm-hmm. and then the second draw, you have to take all of those. So I do look for, okay, is this one of those cards that I do have 3 of? Mm-hmm. Or is this one where it's more like I only have 2? So maybe I do want to make sure I save it and I'm not going to use it as a resource. But that's what I typically look at when I'm looking at them, is what is playable in the near future, and then also what of these cards do I want to lose to as resources.
Right, and there's good cards on both light side and dark side to mm-hmm. easily get you to your more 7 cost, 8 cost cards, such as your Avenger, and it can come out, and if it can get out before, if it can get out without being attacked or exhausted, mm-hmm. you can start destroying a lot of things on the game for your Vader red blue, or your Vader greens, so you can ramp. If Vader survives until past round 4 or 5, it's going to be very dangerous for your Boba Fett opponent. So because Vader can outswing just about anything in the game.
Especially if you can get his lightsaber out on him.
Yeah, and he has damage pings for 1 mm-hmm. each round. So there are 2 characters that I recommend considering building a deck for, and they're both dark side characters. But I do love Han because he can cheat out those cards we were talking about before mm-hmm. with his more lottery play style. Mm-hmm. Yes, so Iden Versio is going to be a really good contender for anti-Boba Fett right now because she does have that ability to heal from her base, and a lot of Boba Fett's are going to be using energy conversion laboratory, mm-hmm. and you're going to be healing your units and trying to out-damage your Boba Fett units. So she's got a really nice ability on her flip side as well, because when she comes out to the battlefield, she is going to be shielded, so they can't instantly eliminate her hero. Mm-hmm. Huge in this game.
Yes, it is.
She's also running blue, so you can play a lot of meta-defining cards like Entrenched, and Super Laser Blast, which is a good board wipe in this game. We mm-hmm. haven't pulled any of those, but Super Laser Blast is like getting rid of all these cards on the battlefield, so you can play your shielded ones and your quick aggro cards. Mm-hmm. That's really nice, and also Vigilance. So really good situational cards, really mm-hmm. flexible strategy for Iden Versio. I think she's going to be super popular, especially with more cards coming out.
And that's what I noticed playing against Boba Fett, was that I would have a strategy in mind, mm-hmm. and you would just ruin said strategy. So then quickly, all right, well, I've already played these cards, or this is what I've chosen to pick up, so what can I do from here?
Right.
So that's something that I've noticed particularly with this game compared to other things like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic, is that you are going to have a lot more disruptors in that you can only do 1 action at a time. So I'm not going to lay down all these cards mm-hmm. and we're like, okay, I'm going to attack you with all of this. You can't do that. So right. There's a lot more, all right, I make a little move, what is he doing, before I plan out, okay, now I get to do this thing.
Yeah.
And it really changes how, or at least for me, how my brain's working when it comes to my strategy, is I'm having to think about multiple things that could potentially happen between each of my actions.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It's like, he's got 3 resources and he still hasn't used his epic action on energy.
Yes, and that's what I paid attention to. I was like, oh, okay, he's still got all of those resources and he's got quite a few cards in his hand.
Right.
And I'm like, I would kind of try to bait out to see what do you have in there to maybe stop you might think you're halting my strategy, and it was like, no, I was just baiting you to get out that card, and then now I'm going to play my other strategy. So it's like,
and then there's also no good to be dead, so you can like anything that was doing you well.
Yes.
Yeah, even and it says non-leader units and leader units alike both fall to no good to be dead.
Hate it so much.
And when you turn off Leia's ability, cannot attack with all these
right, and
characters.
that's her biggest thing is attacking twice.
So another really good matchup, another deck to consider is also Director Krennic from the Rogue One movie, which is also a really good movie. I've always liked Krennic because even true to this game, he goes underappreciated. So true to his character.
Naturally.
He's like, "This is my idea, not yours." But he's a really good control character in this game. He's probably one of the best control characters, honestly, even more than Boba Fett. And something else to consider going into his strategy, his deck won TCG's very first like official tournament for Star Wars Unlimited. He got first place.
Yes.
And imagine how many Boba Fetts he had to crush along the way.
Oh, so many. He
has one of the decks that could be like the most expensive deck in the game, but he can also play a lot of cheaper cards and alternatives to those expensive cards, like your Darth Vader green, your 7 cost. But he's got really nice cards, again, with powerful units that utilize grit really well. He's got his Death Star Troopers, which deal damage to friendly units, and when they have more damage, they deal damage to enemies, making up that difference. So he adds a lot of benefit to his own units. He wants to play those units that we were talking about that have shielded. He's playing things like Scout Bike Pursuer and Death Troopers, also Cargo Juggernauts, things that have shields on them and they quickly get out of hand because they're just taking other units out of the field.
He's scary.
So when Krennic, his passive ability is that all damage units are going to get an additional +1 to their power, which is great for a grit style of deck. You're going to be doing more damage to your opponent if you can manage your damage counters pretty well. And on his flip side, he's got Restore of 2, which is going to be healing his base on top of the damage additionally dealt. And he's got each friendly damage unit gets that +1 on that side as well.
And he's not a real heavy hitter. He's only got a 2, but it's gonna take a bit to take him out at a 7.
Out of 7, yeah. So he's going to be on the board just healing.
Yes.
And then go back to his other side, which is just still giving him +1. I think this character is going to be huge for the next couple of months, all things considering. But yeah, use those tips against your Boba Fett. I know it seems like he's a goat, needs to be toned down right now, but I assure you, certain matchups can turn the tide in your favor. Even if you were Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker, I think you can also follow these tips and still score a victory. So, moving on to the next last thing. These are just some underrated gems that I wanted to talk about. You might have heard me talk about it earlier. One of my favorite cards in the game right now is blue, and it's called Entrenched. You might have heard me talk about it earlier in the video, and probably our last unboxing video. And what it is an upgrade for 2. You get a +3/+3 on a unit, and more importantly, that unit cannot attack bases. What's cool about this card is that it's a multi-use tool. And if you're not playing in your main deck, you can put it in your side deck, depending on like, oh, I have a Boba Fett I'm going against. Because an enemy unit equipped with your upgrade card cannot attack bases. So it's going to be a big +3/+3. It's going to be targeting your units. But if you're playing something like Krennic or an Iden Versio, you're going to be able to heal your own stuff while doing more damage to their base, and then just dealing with this rogue unit that's attacking everybody else. So, really good, because usually it's like a fire spray coming in for 6 every turn on your base, and that's, game over. but then you just add it to your that fire spray, let them take air battle. I'll take ground units, and then they can't attack me unless they use a strafe and gunship or some sort of ability, and I just take the victory. You see what I did?
Yes.
Okay, so Entrench is one of the easiest cards to get a hold of. You run 3 of them, and it's so important in this game to control how much damage is coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Another card that I would definitely include that's in blue is Regional Governor. Again, we talked about it before. I'm not going to stay on it too much, but it is a great controller, a great ability, disinfectant. You know, it denies a certain card from even being played for that round.
Yes.
And that's really nice when you can actually see what your opponent has in store for you.
Mm-hmm.
Anticipating the play is going to be big. Taking the initiative as Thrawn and playing a regional governor. Man, you are going to be set up.
Oh, I don't want to play against that.
Yes. And those kind of cards of like understanding what's at stake at that current round, playing cards that can disable abilities, I think will be huge. Maybe not right now, maybe it won't win you the majority of games, just those 2 cards that I mentioned, but still, really good ones to consider.
Mm-hmm.
And then staying on the conversation of dark side units and abilities, I also really like Force Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Force Lightning is such a fun card because first sentence disables the abilities of another unit. That's going to be huge, especially if you get through things like Sentinel on like a big redemption ship that's out. You can get through a lot of certain abilities, especially if you have a force unit. You could deal more damage, a lot of damage output. A lot of people aren't running this in too many force decks and too many dark side force decks.
Oh, okay. Well,
But
that's silly because when we did get the hyperspace here, I mean, why wouldn't you want to run this?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I think it's going to be a great card to at least sideboard in to get through a lot of passive abilities. Another card to get rid of the abilities of, something like a K2SO, because that's going to get, when it's defeated, it's going to do a ton of damage to your base. And it's also got things like Overwhelmed, like a lot of these other aggro cards you can get through on the field and still outpace your opponent. It's like a big math game between you and your opponent of like who can reduce it down to 0 the fastest.
Yes, that is the object of this game.
But Force Lightning is really good because it's like just a cost of 1. All right, with that being said, we're going to still be on top of all things Star Wars Unlimited. A lot of...
You better believe I'll be on top of all things Star Wars.
Yeah. A couple months between us and the newest set, so we have lots of matches to cover, discussions, rules discussions, things in that nature in the future, and let us know if there's another TCG or Reddit question or anything that comes up that you would like us to look into and answer.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
I'm just going to kick your ass more now that I got another K2SO.
You'll be kicking nothing with a Force Lightning.
That's not going in your deck. Somehow it's just going to disappear. I'm not going to know where that goes.
Nope, I'm taking it. All right, and until then, we will see you next time. And the Force is with us, I guess?
Always.
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 See ya.
Bye.